Hola everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Roxanne. If it's your first time here, then welcome. I am doing a super impromptu, super casual recent reads video because it's been a really long time since I sat down and done either a wrap up or a recent reads, and I have a lot of things to talk to you guys about. For a lot of these, I feel like I might just direct you to the appropriate reading vlog, just because it really has been so long since I've done one of these that this would be very, very long if I have, or I might just do like really quick, short things. Of course, Galileo, it never ever misses that every time I turn on his camera, he wants to come and play. So during February for Black History Month, I read Act Your Age, Eve Brown, which is the Brown Sisters #3 by Talia Hibbert, and this has autism rep, which I really enjoyed, and I thought this was a really great, like really fun, really entertaining romance. I really enjoyed our characters and how they get to know themselves and just kind of develop within the story and their love for each other and for themselves, and it was really fun and really entertaining. I absolutely love this series and I highly recommend it. I read The Color Purple by Alice Walker, and again, there is a February reading vlog if you'd like to sort of see a little bit more in-depth thoughts on these. And this is a heartbreaking yet to me hopeful story about two sisters, one which is a child bride and one which eventually becomes a missionary, and they're separated through their circumstances, and then it's sort of their lives individually and how they ultimately try to get back to each other. And it has a lot of commentary on womanhood, on blackness, on the life of a black individual in the South, poverty, queerness. It's a very queer, just classic novel. I absolutely so appreciated finally being able to have read it and highly recommend it. I read Reclaiming Our Space, How Black Feminists Are Changing the World from Tweets to the Streets by Feminista Jones. I followed Feminista Jones for a long time on Twitter, and I always really appreciate everything that she has to say and her wisdom and her very specific take on a lot of things. She focuses a lot of the times on like society and sort of social and pop culture and things that are going on, and this isn't necessarily anything that you might not have read about in other black feminist reads, but I do appreciate this sort of specific take that she takes with regards to social media, and specifically black creators within social media spaces. And so I really I enjoyed my time with it. I read Class Act, which is the companion to New Kid. It's a graphic novel by Jerry Craft, and this is a really great middle grade graphic novel about that really tackles a lot of sort of smaller issues that kids of color have to deal with, especially those that are of a different like tax bracket than maybe their classmates. And so it's about our main character who goes to school with kids that are better off than he is. And it's about a lot of the sort of I sort of hesitate to use the word passive next to the word racism, but those sort of like offhand comments that they might hear, and just those sort of situations that they deal with. And I think that this book deals with it really sensitively and in a good way for its target audience. And so I always recommend it. I really loved New Kid, and I thoroughly enjoyed Class Act as well. I read Patina, which is the second in a track series by Jason Reynolds, and this was a great middle grade story, contemporary story about our main character Patina. She is it's a lot about found family and sort of coming into your own and sort of dealing with your own emotions and what that can manifest as, and thoroughly loved it. I mean, Jason Reynolds really can do no wrong. Bluebird by Attica Locke. This is the first in a mystery series by a black author with a black main character who is a Texas Ranger, and I really enjoyed it. It does sort of ascribe to a lot of those sort of typical mystery tropes, you know, the main character who has a drinking problem, who has problems in their marriage, and who's kind of a loner and things like that. But I think overall, it's an interesting concept, and I had a lot of fun with it, and I will continue on with the series. I read Petba Kweke Emezi, and I remember enjoying my time with it when I read it, and but honestly now I can't really tell you much about it. I think it's a sort of has like fabulous and some fantastical components to it. It's about it's a young adult novel where like angels and demons are a thing, and it's essentially a big metaphor for how we might how things do not always have to be like wildly significant to be bad, and how a lot of the times that is the only time in which we might recognize bad. And it's a lot about our tendency to see things in like see a duality to things, like good truth or bad truth, when it's like truth is just truth. And it was interesting, and it was thought-provoking, but having stepped away from it now for a while, I can't really tell you the specifics of it, so it probably just didn't impact me as much as I perhaps thought immediately after reading it. I read a lot of picture books that I am going to do a separate video on, just because I want to be able to highlight picture books specifically. Then I read When We Make It by Elizabeth Velasquez. This is a novel written in verse, and it's a young adult novel about a young first generation Puerto Rican girl in Bushwick, and it's about gentrification, it's about machismo. It had trigger warnings for sexual assault. It has like teen pregnancy and a lot of the issues that teen Latinas who are poor have to deal with in the sort of like the cities. And I thought it was really, it had so much heart in it. I think there's still a lot of improvement that I could see in her writing, but she, I think, is working on new things, and I'm really excited to see where she goes, because I feel like this is an author who has a lot to say, and who really puts her own work and her own life just like right into her work. And so I really appreciated that, and I really was touched by it. So I would recommend it if you enjoy YA and if you enjoy novels in verse. Then I read Parable of the Sower, which is Earthseed and #1 by Octavia E. Butler, and this I really enjoyed. Seems weird, like I've said appreciated a lot, but that's kind of like my go-to word when enjoyed seems weird, just because of the difficult content or the at times disturbing content of a novel. I don't really tend to read books like this just because they give me anxiety, and this one more so just because she imagined a future, actually this is set in what, like 2023 or something, that is so that you can just in the early 2020s in California. So it's when global change and economic crises lead to social chaos. So she really just imagined a world that I can just see. I can see exactly what she created, and it doesn't. I really didn't really have to like suspend disbelief in any way, which really just speaks to her incredible mind. And I think I still prefer Kindred, but I highly recommend it. I think it was so good, and it was a great beginning to a much broader story. I don't know if she finished this series, but I definitely want to continue on if there are any others after this. She's just masterful. She really is, and she was, and I can't wait to continue on. And I if you have the sort of mental capacity and mental just headspace to be able to read something like this, I highly recommend it, because you'll just be left like I believe everything else that I have read I can talk about in a March wrap-up. So this is mostly a February reading wrap-up with the exception of the picture books that I read, because like I said, one of the goals that I have this year is to highlight specifically children's fiction, especially picture books, because I feel like we don't talk a lot about picture books, and so I want to be able to do that. 2 books that I might not talk about in my wrap up just because they're kind of like so separate from anything else that I was reading is The Other Bennett Sister and A Peculiar Combination, which are 2 books that I read while I was doing a book exchange with Olive over at a Book Olive. There is a specific video just for those. I will say that I thoroughly loved and enjoyed my time with both of these. The Other Bennett Sister was just, and A Peculiar Combination was super entertaining, and I really enjoyed this new start of a new series, and Ashley Weaver is just continues to be a favorite for me. So I will direct you to that video as well if you are interested. I will be back soon with more things. As always, thank you for watching and for listening. I love you all very much.